Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Thank you for joining us today for the second Evaluation Excellence Awards from UNDP's Independent Evaluation Office. We're joined today by an eminent panel. Mr. Achim Steiner, the Administrator of UNDP, Mr. Oscar A. Garcia, the Director of the Independent Evaluation Office, Ms. Ramya Ramanath, a member of the IEO's Evaluation Advisory Panel and the judge for the Gender Responsive Evaluation Award. Ms. Ramanath is also Associate Professor and Chair of International Public Service at the School of Public Service at DePaul University in Chicago. And Mr. Osvaldo Feinstein, another member of the Evaluation Advisory Panel and the judge for the Innovative Evaluation Award. Mr. Feinstein is also professor at the Universitat Complutense de Madrid's Master in the Evaluation of Programs and Public Policies, and a member of the advisory board of the Colony Hirschman International Institute. We are also joined by representatives of the bureaus and country offices being recognized today across the three award categories of gender responsive, innovative, and outstanding evaluations. The winners of the awards were chosen through an exhaustive review of 260 evaluations that were completed during 2021. The winners were chosen from shortlists across the three categories through a final review by members of the Evaluation Advisory Panel. We will hold a question and answer session at the end of today's ceremony, so please put any questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen with the name of the addressee, or raise your hand during the Q&A session. Without further ado, I would like to hand the floor to Mr. Steiner. Mr. Steiner, thank you very much for joining us today. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Kate, and dear colleagues and friends, and Professor Ramanath, Professor Feinstein. Thank you for joining us in this not exercise, but really in this very special journey where we want to recognize both outstanding teams in the field of evaluation, but also to create a better understanding of what it is that we are actually aspiring to do when we invest in evaluation, when we continue to advance the kind of practice that UNDP has a long and proud tradition to. And it is a great privilege for me to join today when we are recognizing 6 outstanding evaluations selected from over 260 that we completed in 2020. It says here 2022, I imagine 2021, isn't it, Oscar? Maybe into just in time.
2021, yes.
Yes, no. As I said, high quality evaluations are pivotal to UNDP's support to communities and countries across the globe, and they provide us with concrete evidence, solid data of what works and what doesn't. And when it comes to our projects and programs, what it is that with continuing learning, we can do better. This concerted self-reflection is also vital to continuously improve our support, ensuring that we drive forward better results for the communities we serve. And in this respect, the Independent Evaluation Office is also rolling out several new tools as it aims to get ahead of a rapidly changing development landscape. One that Oscar also introduced me to last Friday in a quick session that we had is the Artificial Intelligence for Development Analytics Initiative, operatic name of AIDA. It will be heard and sung across the world, Oscar, I hope, but even before AIDA, the process of extracting evidence from our archives was manual, resource-intensive, and time-consuming. And I myself have often argued, I wish we had the means to go back to projects that maybe ended 10 or 15 years ago and do a long time series analysis of what actually is left over. Because sometimes in our evaluation economy, if I may call it that, you know, we evaluate projects within 6 months or sometimes even while they're still completing their work. And yet some of the seeds we sow with our programs really only germinate years later and may only be in their true meaning understandable perhaps 10 years later. Now, AIDA is a machine learning model. And when Oscar joined us, I encouraged him very much to bring that technological and digital perspective also to the evaluation practice of UNDP. And with AIDA, we now have a platform that can extract key sections from 6,000 evaluation reports stored in IAO's Evaluation Resource Center, complete with web portal access to the findings. Ultimately, by helping colleagues to extract crucial data from evaluation, it is ensuring that everyone in UNDP and indeed outside can make more informed decisions on their projects and programs. The IAO's most recent evaluation examines, for example, UNDP's response to the pandemic while assessing our collective progress towards the global goals. And look to the range of new online courses available for UNDP personnel so that they can learn new evaluation skills or keep up to date with new and emerging developments in the field. Because, and I think this is a very important thought, evaluation is not only about the practice as a profession of evaluators evaluating the evaluees, it is also about those who implement programs to design the kind of theory of change and to be able to plan projects in a way that evaluations become both more effective and more meaningful. So colleagues, today we are celebrating several innovative, thoughtful, conceived evaluations. Recognizing these unique approaches is crucial to help us reflect on new ways to improve our performance. And it comes at a time when the world needs new game-changing solutions. Never has this been more true than perhaps in these months in 2022. And we are confronted by conflict and fragility, the urgency of climate change, the degradation of our natural world, the notions of human insecurity and of inequality that are causing such deep divisions in so many societies. The work and the world of development is under immense pressure to evolve its approach. And in this respect, our work as United Nations officials is, in the end, much more than just a job. It's a vocation. And these evaluations are a clear reminder of the importance of the work that members of the UN and the UNDP family do every day across the world. I want to thank them. I want to thank you all for your dedicated efforts. And I would like to extend my sincere congratulations to today's winners. Celebrating evaluations is, in a sense, sometimes counterintuitive because people often still think that evaluations are somehow questioning when they have critical observations, precisely that vocation that people bring to their work and to their positions. I think the opposite should be true. Evaluation allows us to make that commitment even more meaningful. In that spirit, congratulations to all, and thank you again to our jury, and Oscar, to you and your team for the leadership you have shown, and above all to the winners that we are recognizing today. Back to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Achim, for your inspiring words. It's really a privilege to have you among us. Colleagues, a very welcome to all of you. Thank you for joining us for the second annual Evaluation Excellence Awards. When we established the awards last year, we had three goals in mind. Firstly, we wanted to recognize and encourage the good evaluative work being done by program units around the globe. Secondly, we wanted to share good practices by identifying strong evaluations to provide examples for others and encourage improvement. We are heartened to see that the evaluations that won the award this year already have a number of downloads that is surpassing our standards. Finally, considering the importance of evaluation for development programs and policies at UNDP and beyond, the awards also promote the culture and practice of evaluation across the organization. Promoting the culture of evaluation and the accountability, learning, and transparency it brings is central to the development process, as expressed by the administrator. It is key not to only ensure the proper use of resources. More importantly, the purpose of evaluation is to ensure that development activities generate real added value on the ground where it matters. As you may know, the Evaluation Excellence Awards are based on our quality assessment system, which has been in practice for many years. Even in the short time since we started these awards, we have noticed real quality improvements across UNDP's evaluation. Overall, the quality of evaluation has improved in every region. The progress we are making is the result of team efforts across UNDP. It is the result of the close work between the IEO and BPPS, and I'm glad to have Hao Liang among us today, with the regional monitoring and evaluation focal points and with the monitoring and evaluation colleagues at the country level. Of course, we will not rest on our laurels. This award ceremony is an occasion for us to recognize that we are on the right track. It is also an occasion to recognize that we will continue our efforts to secure the best way forward. We need to cover important areas of UNDP's work that are not sufficiently evaluated, such as governance, resilience, and crisis prevention. As the Director of Independent Evaluation Office, I hope that the recognition of high-quality evaluations will encourage the production and utility of further evaluations and strengthen the culture of evaluation across UNDP and its associated funds and programs. And by that, I'm also happy to be joined here by UNCDF. I truly believe that together we can make a real difference. At this point in proceedings, we will turn to the focus of the day and announce the winners. Colleagues, please receive my warmest congratulations. A job very well done. Thank you very much. Back to you, Kate.
So now to move on to the main event of the day, and to award the Outstanding Evaluation Award, I'm delighted to give the floor back to Mr. Steiner.
Kate, now I'm looking at my script and I'm not sure, on my script it said, okay, this is my piece. Sorry, I was just waiting for Priti to come on, but it's mine. So first of all, this year, the selection process for the Outstanding Evaluation Award was extremely competitive. As I mentioned, more than 250 evaluations considered and 20 shortlisted. The grounds for this award are based on the Independent Evaluation Office's annual quality assessment system, and that system assesses the quality of evaluations across 4 aspects. First, the design of the evaluation. Second, the report structure and the methodology of the evaluation. Third, how the evaluation takes crucial issues like gender equality and disability inclusion into account. And lastly, the quality of the findings, conclusions, and recommendations. On this basis, 2 outstanding evaluations were selected, and it is my pleasure to announce the first winner, an evaluation by the UN Capital Development Fund entitled Shaping Inclusive Finance Transformations for the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation Program. And Priti, here you are, just a year into the job and already winning the awards. Congratulations to you and your team. The standout feature of this evaluation was its straightforward presentation of the subject. Care was taken to put gender equality, inclusion, and sustainability center stage. It was also notable for its specific efforts to promote accelerated learning, and sustainability was essentially notable throughout the evaluation, featuring at every stage of the process from methodology to recommendations. The second winner is a midterm evaluation by UNDP's Bureau for Policy and Program Support of the joint UNDP-UN Environment Program project entitled Poverty Environment Action for the Sustainable Development Goals. The highlight of this evaluation was the way it embraced the midterm evaluation as an opportunity to address challenges and course correct. The effective, straightforward recommendations show the positive function that evaluation serves, helping to ensure UNDP's projects, and I should say UNEP's projects and programs, achieve their targets. I would like to express my congratulations to both winners. Colleagues, I hope that the unique approaches of both evaluations will serve to inspire colleagues across the UNDP family, indeed the UN family as a whole, to continuously improve the quality of the evaluations we undertake. And now it's my great pleasure to hand the floor to my dear colleague and friend, the Executive Secretary of UNCDF. Priti, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Hakeem, and good morning to you and to Oscar, Kate, and all colleagues and friends present here. Let me start by saying, of course, we are so delighted to receive this Outstanding Evaluation Award. And I must say this also demonstrates the importance we place on independent evaluations at UNCDF, in partnership, of course, with the Independent Evaluation Office, which enables and supports UNCDF's evaluation work. Just a quick note to recognize my colleagues, Andrew Fife and Chris Legrand, the 2 people who lead the independent evaluation work at UNCDF. But of course, this work, as you said, the administrator, takes place based on the implementers and then the evaluation that comes through. So if you agree, just to share a couple of words on this Shift SARC evaluation that we found very useful for UNCDF. It has a focus on the real economy, the findings that confirm that market development approaches to digital financial inclusion, which we hold very precious to our work, with beneficiaries in underserved markets in the LDCs was very valuable. In this case, the benefits experienced by the rural and peri-urban micro merchants working in the fast-moving garment industry in Bangladesh was at the core of this project and the evaluation. The evaluators proposed recommendations that informed lessons around what needs to be in place to successfully support private sector partner organizations and beneficiaries in the real economy sectors, such as the garment sector, as well as government policymakers. We found that support to small-scale business innovation requires time and resources to pilot and scale up and should not be underestimated. We found that engaging with the fast-moving consumer good companies, especially the larger ones, can be challenging as it requires the sharing of data and integration of processes and platforms. And that policy and regulatory support requires continuous dialogue and efforts and should not rely on just ad hoc interventions. In closing, I would like to acknowledge the work of the independent evaluators from Microfinanza in Italy, who worked together with a team of consultants from Bangladesh, where this project was based, effectively and excellently to conduct this evaluation. At UNCDF, as we aspire to be the catalytic financing agency for the 46 LDCs, the evaluation unit enables UNCDF to leverage the expertise and commitment of our independent evaluators to help us understand what we are achieving and are we achieving the results we aspire to, along with our LDC partners. Learning is a central element to the ethos of UNCDF, and the evaluations continually enable us to improve and innovate for the benefits of our constituents. Thank you so much again to the Independent Evaluation Office for this wonderful award. Thank you, Administrator.
Thank you, Preeti, and once again, congratulations to all involved and for this recognition. And let me now invite Hao Liang. Hao Liang is Director of BPPS. Congratulations to you, and your thoughts on this award. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Hakim and Oscar. We are really very happy to receive this outstanding evaluation award for the Poverty Environment Action for Sustainable Development Goals project, a joint project between the UNDP and UNEP. And this project, as you know, is trailblazing the approach to mainstreaming environmental sustainability and climate objectives for poverty reduction into development planning and budgeting and monitoring systems and so forth. And we're supporting a set of countries in Africa and in Asia, but also have a number of regional activities, which are really important to achieve our shared goals for the SDGs. And what this evaluation has done, midterm evaluation has done, is actually to use it. We use this not only as an oversight tool, but also as an opportunity to generate evidence for learning and for the looking planning. So I think we took this evaluation really seriously, and we organized the joint task team to look at the 6 recommendations. We informed the project board of these recommendations and the corrective actions. And we made, as a follow-up to this evaluation, part of the project implementation plan. So we really thank the IEO for the support for the evaluation frameworks and the quality assurance processes, the guidelines, and we look forward to really making best use of evaluation, not only for this one, but also for other programs and projects. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hao Liang, and again, congratulations to the teams, to you, and all those who put this evaluation together. Kate, I believe I hand back to you now for the next segment.
You do indeed. Many thanks, Mr. Steiner, and congratulations to Ms. Sinha and Mr. Chu. Very well deserved. It's my pleasure to now hand the floor to Mr. Feinstein for the Innovative Award evaluation.
Thank you, Kate. This award provided by UNDP's Evaluation Office, the Independent Evaluation Office, to innovative decentralized evaluations shows and promotes an evaluation culture at UNDP, as Oscar was referring to before. An evaluation culture that enhances learning for innovation and accountability. This is reflected in the remarkable improvement of the quality and quantity of decentralized evaluations at UNDP, something that I can attest, having used evaluations done by the offices in the past. And this is a remarkable achievement in which both UNDP management and IEO played a crucial role. Evaluations are often challenged by new demands, changes in context and resources. When crises hit, like the COVID-19 pandemic, business as usual is no longer feasible, no desirable. So in this context, innovations play a crucial role in allowing the function of evaluation to play its both the learning and accountability function in a creative way, helping to overcome the challenges introduced by the difficult environment that is being faced. So I have the honor and pleasure to announce the 2022 Innovative Evaluation Award winners. First, the interim evaluation of the Tuvalu Coastal Adaptation Project commissioned by UNDP's Pacific Office in Fiji. This evaluation presented lessons learned in a table organized along a set of general themes. Linking lessons learned from evaluations to a set of themes or categories facilitates their use, particularly when artificial intelligence is used to retrieve the information, as IEO started to do, and it was mentioned by both the administrator and Oscar. Through this innovation, UNDP and the development community at large can learn more and better from experiences in the field. So congratulations, and now the bell tolls for the Midterm Country Program Evaluation commissioned by UNDP Benin. This evaluation presents its recommendations in an innovative and useful way, showing their links with the corresponding conclusions, their expected impact, the consequences of not implementing the evaluations, the recommendations, and indications on how to implement the recommendations, their urgency, as well as the difficulty and the institutions that should implement them. This innovation greatly facilitates the use of evaluations to increase UNDP's effectiveness. So, colleagues, please join me in congratulating the winners of the award. And it will now be the time to open the floor to the two winners to say a few words. First, Mr. Levan Wadzier, the UNDP representative, resident representative in Fiji.
Thank you, Mr. Feinstein. Administrator, colleagues, warm greetings and a very good evening. Well, actually evening here in Palau, where I'm on a mission to attend our Oceans Conference, and where we're trying to showcase some of the work that we do in the oceans and blue economy field as part of our SEEDS offer. Clearly, we are very pleased and proud that our office is recognized for this award, and wanted to take the opportunity and thank the organization for this acknowledgement. In our office, we definitely treat the evaluation as an important element in organizational learning, and the ultimate objective of which is at the end to make our organization more results oriented. Exactly, that's what we owe to our countries we serve, as well as development partners. And just want to make sure that every dollar brings required development value, and evaluation is an important piece in this equation. Pacific MC office, most of you know, is a one-of-a-kind office. It's a large office, given its multi-country nature. At any point in time, we have about 150 active projects. And hence, perhaps, I don't know the statistics, but I guess we are probably one of the most prolific in terms of commissioning decentralized evaluation Last year, for instance, we did 16 evaluations, which was 10% of our BAP. And I guess it's probably the higher number. And not all evaluations actually are of a good quality, and we have to be very frank about it. But I think we are doing better now lately. And this award is a testimony of this improvement. Just a couple of words why this project is important and how evaluation is helping us. As you know, this is a Tuvalu coastal adaptation project. This is perhaps one of the most important projects in our portfolio in many respects. It is a vertical adaptation project that is expected to benefit 2/3 of Tuvalu's population by protecting them from rising sea levels. It involves a complex construction works in the middle of the ocean where COVID restrictions actually have not yet been lifted. It is funded by GCF, and all the more important to make sure that it is done in the best corporate standards possible. And possibly, if successful, this could position UNDP solidly in coastal management and vertical adaptation field, which may be a strategic niche for our work in SIDS. For all that reasons, the interim evaluation that what we are receiving award for was very informative for us. It was a context that was very much affected by COVID-19. So based on the recommendation we received through the evaluation report, we had to make quite a few adjustments in the way we manage the project. And we see that there's been some improvement in terms of bringing the project back to track. By the way, so we are about to sign a $20 million construction contract as we speak. So I guess once done, I think we'll be on the ground. So again, to close, thanks for the recognition. And I really want to thank my colleagues, both in the Pacific region as well as the regional hub, that have been involved in this exercise. And we promise that we will continue the same way. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we have words by Mr. Mohamed Abshir, the UNDP resident representative in Benin. Please, Mr. Abshir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Feinstein, and good afternoon to all from Cotonou in Benin. My team, the evaluation team, and I are really proud to be part of this ceremony with such an eminent panel and with our UNDP administrator, Hakim Steiner. Allow me also to congratulate the Independent Evaluation Office for this initiative. We are really delighted and we are grateful that UNDP midterm evaluation of the country program document is among the 2 reports who won the 2021 Innovative in Evaluation Award. We deeply appreciate, and on behalf of my country office and all those involved, again, I would like to extend really our appreciation for this great honor. We feel proud, and we think that this is going to be, again, a source of motivation to even do much better, but also share our experience with other country offices. It has been highlighted already, evaluation is critical to support our efforts in poverty eradication and also reduction of inequalities and exclusion. And by generating evidence, it helps us, as it has been already highlighted, to achieve greater accountability, but also facilitate and improve our learning. We need to improve what is not working, and we need also to highlight what really works well. We expect that this evaluation will help us, but not only us, but I will come back to that, the whole UN system here in Benin, to improve our interventions. It will also help us to better target and see how we can empower the most vulnerable in this country. It helps us also, and it will continue helping us, I think, in terms of synergies with other interventions, but also in terms of resource mobilization and increasing our resource mobilization and supporting our resource mobilization efforts. UNDP in Benin is leading on three of the three outcomes of the UN cooperation framework. And we started also the midterm evaluation of in the cooperation framework. And this is going to be really an important piece as part of that process, but also of the upcoming process of the drafting of the new framework. And so it is not only going to help UNDP, but it's also going to help the whole UN system here in Benin. So I would like again to extend our appreciation. Thank you for this great honor on behalf of my team and the evaluation team and myself. Thank you so much.
Congratulations, thank you. Back to Kate.
Thank you, Mr. Feinstein, and congratulations to Mr. Boards and Mr. Abchir. It's very well deserved. Now, before we turn to the Gender Responsive Evaluation Award, if we could just give Mr. Steiner an opportunity to say goodbye.
Thank you. No, there we are. Kate, thank you very much. I do apologize, but today is a very, very intense day. So I don't want to rush you in terms of the celebrations. And I simply want to say thank you so much for having these awards and for making a little bit of space for me to join them. I will follow from remote, but I have to unfortunately go into another meeting. So please keep going, and to the awardees who are still being announced, heartfelt congratulations, and to our jury, Oscar, to your team, thank you so much, and great to be with you.
Thank you very much, Administrator. Thank you for your part. Have a great day.
It's my pleasure to now hand the floor to Ms. Ramya Ramanath, who will award the Gender Responsive Evaluation Award.
Thank you, Kate. I'm preaching to the choir when I say that gender responsive evaluations promote accountability to the goals of gender equality, to human rights, and women's empowerment. They provide information on the ways in which development programs affect women and men differently and contribute to the achievements of these commitments. Now, IEO reports on UNDP's inclusion of gender in evaluations on an annual basis under the UN System-Wide Action Plan on Gender Equality and Empowerment of Women. Now, given the cross-cutting importance of gender equality, which is SDG 5, this is applicable to all types of development programming. I'm grateful for the opportunity to read, to judge, and now to award these two outstanding gender responsive evaluation awards. They are, number one is the final evaluation of, I start quotes saying, hidden challenges addressing sexual bribery experienced by military widows and war widows in Sri Lanka to enable resilience and sustained peace. End quotes. This is a project commissioned by UNDP Sri Lanka. And this is how I responded to it when I judged it. I said, the strength of the evaluation lies in its comprehensive treatment of how small but significant corrections help tear down the deep-seated power structures that are often at the root of violence against women. Acting on the feedback from women themselves is very much at its heart. And the second is the midterm evaluation of the Expanding Financial Access EFA program commissioned by the UN Capital Development Fund. And to this, I had said, to achieve its overall goal of equitable, inclusive, and sustainable growth, the Expanding Financial Access program required comprehensive cross-sector engagement. In keeping with these ambitious objectives, the evaluation is a detailed and a useful evidentiary base for better coordinating a gender-inclusive future for Myanmar's market ecosystem. Congratulations to the worthy winners. One of them is getting a second award. So congratulations, a second time over. I would like to open the floor to representatives of the winning teams to say a few words in turn. Firstly, Mr. Robert Jukam, the UNDP resident representative in Sri Lanka. Congratulations, the floor is yours.
Good morning, good evening, good day, Akim, who's just stepped out, but also Preeti, Aliam, Ramanath, thank you so much, and the other awardees in the country offices, Lavana, Mohammed, and teams. We're really super pleased that the UNDP Sri Lanka country office and team is being recognized. It's a great privilege to be here to accept the award today on behalf of the country office, together with two of many colleagues sitting here on my side, having a role to play in making this project a great success. Itself a transformational project, but also in making the evaluation a top quality one. Chandrika here, who is the head of our SDG 16 and inclusive governance portfolio, and Suman, who is our M&E specialist and the real star in making sure the evaluation was indeed top quality. I wanted to say that it was really no easy feat to be successful with the project. One, because a lot was happening in Sri Lanka at the time of the project, but then also at the time of the evaluation. From a 2018 constitutional crisis to the devastating Easter Sunday attacks in Colombo in 2019, Colombo and beyond. From the appointment of a new government in 2019, followed quickly by the COVID pandemic, during which time the evaluation actually was then carried out under atypical circumstances. So the project itself had to adapt to very difficult circumstances, redesign and overcome challenges, and deal with the atypical circumstances during the evaluation. But secondly, because the project ventured into subjects not usually at the forefront, addressing sexual bribery and harassment, exploitation against military and war widows, and focused on the most vulnerable women-headed households, many widowed, separated, divorced, abandoned, or with disabled partners. And despite that, the project, it was clear from what we learned that it helped to do a few things like build a very robust network of women's collectives, 63 collectives, self-help groups focusing on the root causes of such sexual bribery and harassment, hundreds of beneficiaries getting first-line training on business matters, financial literacy and more, and it truly empowered them. And the cool thing is also about the evaluation itself, in the sense that it drew attention to the substantial socioeconomic and person empowerment impacts and benefits, not merely assessing delivery of inputs and outputs, of course. On top of all of this, in the spirit of UN reform, the project was a joint program. We really deeply value the collaboration we had with UN Women in this project, and also in the implementation of the evaluation itself. But it really, I think, both encompassed the strengths and expertise of both UN Women and UNDP in Sri Lanka. And so, just to say, this award belongs not just to Suman and Chandrika and the country office, to many other organizations and individuals, thanks to the evaluators, Melissa Andrade and Nadia Najab, UN Women in Sri Lanka, the Ministry of Women and Child Affairs, the other institutions, CSOs, and in our office, the teams that deal with HR, procurement, finance, results management, and communications. They all, as a country office, have a role to play in making sure that these projects, of course, and evaluations are successful. So really proud to be with a very passionate and hardworking team. I want to thank the Independent Evaluation Office, Oscar, and everybody there. And just to conclude, given that Akim came for a meeting with the Ukraine country office, I wanted to say that solidarity with colleagues in Ukraine and elsewhere, also here in difficult country contexts in Asia Pacific, such as Afghanistan and Myanmar, that solidarity is there. Sri Lanka is now going through its biggest socioeconomic crisis ever, rolling into a socio-political one, as you may be following on the news. And I wanted to say in this respect that life-changing initiatives like the Hidden Challenges project, in my mind, reminds us that such interventions play a catalytic role in leaving no one behind. Women are stronger, institutions are better, and the resilience will help Sri Lankan women and communities get through this difficult crisis as well. So thanks from our side again, and back to you, Ramana.
congratulations again to all three of you and all the other stakeholders you mentioned. I'm sure it's a joint effort, so thank you so much. And now it's Preeti Sinha, the Executive Secretary of the UN Capital Development Fund. Preeti, welcome back again.
Thank you, Ms. Ramya. It's a great pleasure to receive this award. Thank you to the IEO office again for this Gender Responsive Evaluation Award. More to the point, we at UNCDF are so privileged to receive this award for the second year in a row. That just shows that gender responsive evaluation remains a central priority for UNCDF, along with its broader commitments to support the development in LDCs that respect the principles of gender responsiveness and women's empowerment under the UN System-Wide Action Plan. Let me take a moment to express our solidarity as well to Ukraine and also to our colleagues in Sri Lanka. We hope everything turns around for the better. I'm so pleased to see the confirmation from the evaluators of the central plan that gender holds in UNCDF's Expanding Financial Access Program in Myanmar. This aims to build on UNCDF's earlier work in supporting the implementation of financial inclusion roadmap for Myanmar. This program has included support in setting up a governance mechanism by the government of Myanmar for the financial inclusion roadmap, as well as the funding of capacity development of microfinance institutions via grants, technical assistance, and loans overseen by UNCDF's Least Developed Country Investment Platform, or LDCIP team, which implements our loans and guarantees. Looking at the gender results specifically, it was heartening to see the potential for UNCDF's gender work to influence government policy in the area of financial inclusion now and in the future. One example is that the project's gender officer has been designated co-chair of the Technical Working Group for Women's Economic Participation. As always is the case, I would like to acknowledge the work of our independent evaluators who conducted the evaluation along with our teams, the Microcredit Ratings Limited from India. As with the Shift SARC evaluation, our independent evaluators are critical in helping UNCDF understand whether we are achieving the intended results, as well as whether we are providing conclusions and recommendations on what is working well and where we can do better. It bears repeating that the learning is a central process at UNCDF, and evaluations continue to help us to improve and innovate for the benefit of our constituents. In closing, let me just take a moment to thank Oscar and the Independent Evaluation Office, not only for these 2 awards, but also to being a long-time supporter of the evaluation at UNCDF, including support to our evaluation unit I mentioned before. This includes periodic financial support to UNCDF's strategic evaluation, as well as support of IEO to evaluation quality assessment, which has effectively guided innovation at UNCDF and helps us achieve these results today. We look forward to our continuing partnership as we move forward to implement our new strategic framework. Thank you so very much, Ms. Ramya and all.
Kate, invite you back.
Thank you very much, Ms. Ramanath, and our sincere congratulations to Mr. Jukum and Ms. Sinha and the whole teams. Indeed, across the board, the bar was set very high this year. Now, before we turn to the Q&A, we would like to show you a short video with some details of the winning evaluations.
Evaluations are part of UNDP's commitment to constantly learning and improving. They drive us towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals and ensure the services we provide meet people's needs. The 6 winning evaluations of the 2022 awards express that commitment. Outstanding evaluations. Evaluation can support transformative change. The collaborative evaluation from UNDP and UNEP, Poverty Environment Action for the SDGs, provides both agencies with a framework for strengthening achievements and generating the evidence to drive improvement. Market-based solutions can help people lift themselves out of poverty. UNCDF's evaluation of the Shaping Inclusive Finance Transformations Program supports the agency's work to catalyze digital financial services to deliver tangible impact for micro businesses. Innovative evaluations. Evaluation kept going throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, driving innovation. UNDP Benin's country program document evaluation strove to highlight the importance of utility and impact in its efforts to achieve the SDGs and gender equality while supporting the country's recovery from the pandemic. UNDP Fiji's evaluation of the Tuvalu Coastal Adaptation Project responds to the island's climate vulnerability. Anchored in strong partnerships with the island's communities, the project integrates best practices to reduce coastal vulnerability and includes the first ever comprehensive assessment of land heights in Tuvalu. Gender responsive evaluations. To leave no one behind in the digital era involves expanding women's access to markets. UNCDF's Expanding Financial Access Program evaluation provided insights to improve women's financial inclusion and market development, including through microfinance initiatives. Conflict casts a long shadow over people's lives. In the aftermath, women and girls have different needs to men and boys. UNDP Sri Lanka's evaluation, Hidden Challenges, addressing sexual bribery of female heads of households, is part of continuous efforts to empower women, enable resilience, and help communities recover sustainably.
I would now like to turn to the Q&A session, which will be moderated by my colleague Richard Jones, the Chief of our Capacity Development Section here at the IEO. Richard, over to you.
Thank you, Kate. I see there's some silence in the chat and the QA section for questions, which gives me the opportunity, I guess, to raise some controversy as is for award sessions nowadays, and ask some questions of my own device. So please I'll apologize in advance. Priti and Robert talked very much to how gender was centralized within their evaluations and used to address and capture gender lessons. But all of the evaluations that won awards today also were very strong in gender, and there was no evaluations were considered in the shortlist unless they had gender central to their evaluations and their findings. So, I mean, my question then is to the country officers and Levan, Mohammed, and Robert and others, is, you know, how do you ensure that you place gender central to your evaluation? And one of the things that you are looking for, maybe you could talk a little bit, one or 2 points on how you centralize that and ensure there are lessons there that other projects can take forward to improve their gender. Levan, could you, sorry for putting you on at the spot for 1 a.m. in the morning, but please. Sorry. Could I write? Yep. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I can be original about responding. I think gender goes into the design phase of the program. So we just make sure, I guess that's pretty much a common standard these days. And at the same time, when it comes to evaluation, this also finds its way in the TOR, and I believe that's how we make sure that this aspect is covered in the work we do. And in the Tuvalu project, in fact, Tuvalu Coastal Adaptation Project has a significant community engagement because what basically the project is all about is building the infrastructure around coastal protection, but with the engagement with the communities, and the communities that we make sure that the community is represented with both genders, and the engagement is there. And in fact, the evaluation was providing some very important recommendation in terms of where we were falling short in terms of that engagement, and then including changes how we can so if I've responded to your question, and that's how we, at all stages of our work, this has been factored in everything we do.
Thank you, Levan.
Thank you.
Mohammed, would you like to come in? Could you talk to how, because you're obviously, your evaluation was focused more on the midterm course correction for the CPD, for the country program. How do you ensure that gender, then the lessons for gender, they go across your program, your project portfolio?
No, I think, thank you so much, Robert. Maybe just one quick comment, and I think Levan already mentioned the issue of the design phase, I mean, integrating it at the design phase, and the issue of the data. But one point I maybe wanted to add, and this is something that we're really trying to set up on a regular basis, not waiting for the midterm review. I mean, this is an exercise we try to do throughout the whole year. I remember when I joined in the country offices, some of the aspects in terms of gender that we were looking at was much more around, for example, issues of livelihood and stuff like that. You know, giving us certain image of women in this country, and we try also to look at it differently, because, for example, when we do innovation, when we do in artificial intelligence, for example, when we do in support to agribusiness and activities like that, not always those elements were really reported in what we did. So I try to push to be able to get full picture of all the support that we provided, but not always presenting them, for example, in a kind of a beneficiary kind of role, but showing them also through our intervention the much more proactive role that women are also playing in the economy of this country. So it's a tool for us also to showcase and to demonstrate the important roles of women in this country. Yeah.
Thank you, Mohammed. Maybe one also, I hadn't realized actually that the project in Sri Lanka was a joint project, and we have two joint projects here. One with UNEP, Hal Yang's BPPS, the project, the multi-region, multi-country program, and also the Sri Lanka project with UN Women. I mean, our office also have done some joint programs, and they come with their own specific challenges as well as benefits. I wonder if you can talk to, you know, how you overcame those challenges, but also the benefits of doing those evaluations jointly, and how the lessons you are seeing feed into other projects of other agencies. Maybe, thank you.
Hi, can I be heard?
Please, yes.
Okay, hi. So I just wanted to also sort of give you a little bit of a snapshot of how we mainstream gender within our SDG 16 governance portfolio. One of the reasons why we were able to really mainstream gender in this particular evaluation was also because the project was a gender-specific project. It was about military widows, it was about war widows. But more importantly, across our portfolio, we mainstream gender, and we are looking at it not simply as a cross-cutting element or subject, but we've sort of given it a very specific focus and given it a little house in our SDG 16 portfolio within one of our dedicated pillars as well. And we look at sort of gender, looking at it from a national level, a subnational level, working with parliamentarians, the Women's Caucus, and then looking at elected officials at the subnational level. And so linking all of our work at the local level, at the subnational level, as well as the national level as well. And then also, we're working with UN Women. This was a joint program with UN Women. I think I also need to mention our gender specialist, who is now part of the regional team, Bimali, Amara Sekara, who was leading this work, who designed the program and who led this program. She worked very closely with UN Women. She had a very solid relationship with the agency as well. So the two agencies worked very closely together. They've been working very closely on the Women's Forum, the Gender Forum, and UNDP has been instrumental in supporting the government to develop the National Sexual and Gender-Based Action Plan as well. So this all fit perfectly within that. So there was some very good cooperation there, and a very sort of effective work together with the government, the civil society partners, as well as our sister UN agencies. Yeah. And Robert just reminded me that we received the silver seal and we're going for the gold at the moment. So
and this is a Gen 3 project.
Yes, and this was also a Gen 3 project. So just to lay that out there as well.
Thank you. Hao Liang, would you like to talk about
Yeah, no, very quickly. I think for joint programs, it's really important that the agencies in this joint program have a shared value, shared purpose, but also have its own value added, right? So it's comparative advantages. So I think in this program, we built this PEA project, Poverty and Environment Action for Sustainable Development Goals, on the previous Poverty and Environment Initiative, building on that program, but really emphasize the importance of poverty-environment linkages. Right? That is, how sustainable management of the environment and natural resources will have an impact on the economic development outcomes, but also really to mainstreaming these poverty-environment linkages in national development policies, in institutional setup at national level, right? Because unless you have sustained effort over many years, to incorporate this poverty environment linkages in your policies, you're not going to really achieve the poverty environment mainstreaming. So I think with this kind of objective, then we bring the comparative advantages of both agencies into this program. So I think naturally we have a shared interest to make sure that the project goes well. And then if there are issues where we're all interested in learning from lessons, and then apply these lessons to improve the outcome of the program. So I think there's a shared goal, but having comparative advantages to bring to achieve the shared goal, I think is really critical in making joint programs work.
Thank you. Priti, I noticed you had your hand up, or was that a slip of the mouse?
No, thank you, Richard. I might have to step away after one round of Q&A, but I thought if I could share my findings as well of the team here.
Please.
Both gender and, one of our functions is to work across UNDP offices and other agencies, so also on the joint. So on the gender, we try very hard that the whole program cycle is responsive to the gender responsiveness. So there's 4 steps. One is whether that is taken into account in the design of the program. The gender mainstreaming responsiveness is part of the design. Then whether it's really adhered to in the implementation. And in that process, the 3rd step is whether the data collected is disaggregated by male, female, and other sectors. And then lastly, the recommendations that come out, if those are really helpful to design further and better programs. And as you know, our function is really to operate in the least developed countries where women, are being challenged, and we want to support them to be more inclusive and do better economically and socially. And our second function at CDF is to work with other agencies, other offices of UNDP on joint programs. And there, just to share what we find is that there's great potential. Donors are asking for that one UN approach. But we find that sometimes you have to plan in advance. If they're not planned jointly, then it could be challenging to align the 2 evaluation processes. Monitoring systems can be challenging. So the solution would be common standards, and the UNDP common standards, if applied, could be a nice uniting factor to help joint evaluations. So with that, just wanted to contribute those. Richard.
Thank you. Thank you, Priti. Oscar, would you like to come in here with, because we have our own challenges and with joint evaluations, and we're pushing ahead with many. Would you like to talk to the issue of joint evaluations?
Yes, absolutely, Richard. Thank you very much. Indeed, we are committed to the UN reform, and as part of that, we are really requested by our member states to do more joint work. It has advantages in terms of reducing the time spent with external stakeholders. For instance, for data collection at government level or civil society level, we just go once instead of going twice. But of course, there are always challenges in terms of agreeing to the terms of reference, the approaches to evaluation, and sometimes even the use of consultants. Not to say that when we have the evaluation reports, draft evaluation reports, there is always a more time needed to finalize and do the proper consultations with the two sides of the joint partnership. But all in all, I think we are really supportive of this more joint initiatives. And I was really heartened to see the example in which our colleagues in Benin really took the midterm evaluation as a very important input to provide to the UN cooperation framework, Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework in Benin, as an important input for their preparation of the next cycle. So I think we are really learning from the example of our awardees. Thanks very much.
Maybe just, I realize in the interest of time, we're a little bit over, but maybe one question, not pointed at Haoliang so much, but maybe touching on Haoliang and BPPS. Budget is a defining factor we can see from this list. Access to money to enable implementation of good evaluations with strong evaluation teams. And we can see from the figures here that many of these evaluations have pretty high budgets compared to to the average across the board. I mean, how do we ensure that budget is available to have credible, robust, and usable evaluations? What are the challenges? I mean, how are the country officers overcoming this challenge? And what is happening at the central level to try and release more funding through guidance for evaluation? I promised controversy, so I thought I would finish with a pointed, where's the money question? Sorry.
Are you asking me or?
No, to everybody, but maybe for yourself as well, Haoliang.
I think it is a key issue, obviously, because if you want to do a quality evaluation, you obviously need to budget it. I think so. I think it's really important that the project proponents, really take the financial resources, for evaluation into account, during project design. So I think absolutely so support that point, because otherwise then if it's just afterthought, second thought, it won't work.
Yeah, I just want to complement that. I agree entirely. I think it has to be treated, and I think it is in general, but again, it's a question of how we discipline ourselves. And it's a project cost at the end of the day, right? And then this has to be very clearly discussed with development partners a priori and then provisioned for. I think that goes without and oftentimes, if it's an afterthought, then we just have an incentive not to do it because we simply don't have the money. So it's just a matter of disciplining ourselves. And I think, I guess we're doing, I don't really have any statistic to corroborate this with, but I believe that we are doing much better in that respect than we used to in the past.
Thank you. With that, unless anybody else would like, Robert, would you like to come in? You were leaning forward. Please go ahead.
Looking forward to unmute, and Shuman is going to say a couple words here on this one.
Hi, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, nice to see you all. I would like to kind of mention about this financing for evaluation and what we are doing while we are actually planning the project itself, that we are actually managing to kind of allocate some money according to the guidelines, like, for monitoring and evaluation. And we are trying to kind of manage all the evaluation because we see the value as well as the importance of any evaluation. And we are trying to kind of conduct the evaluation as per the project as well as allocated money. And if you are actually finding any difficulties in terms of conducting the evaluation or budgeting for the evaluation, we are trying to kind of manage or kind of find the similarities, so combining the projects to kind of do evaluations. Yeah.
Thank you. Andrew has put a comment in the textbook. Andrew, would you like to speak to that? Your comment only went to the panelists. No? Okay. Oscar, with that, unless there's anybody else would like to ask a question, I'd like to hand over to you to close. And thank you to all. Please go ahead, Oscar.
Thank you very much, Richard, Kate, and colleagues. Again, congratulations to the 6 winners. Thank you for sharing your experiences and insights with us. It is truly encouraging and inspiring. We have learned from the garment sector industry in Bangladesh, a real economy challenge. We have heard from the UNDP, UNEP partnership and the importance of the quality of the recommendations. That's why the evaluation was recognized. We have heard from the Tuvalu Coast Adaptation Management Project and lessons learned, which are of critical importance to all the SITs and for the use of evaluations. We have heard from Benan and its synergies with the UNCF process, as well as from the war widows. What a timely and unfortunately important topic to address sexual bribery and to have a transformative approach for gender equality spearheaded by our colleagues in Sri Lanka, as well as facilitating financial access to women in Myanmar. Really fascinating examples of what can be done when evaluation is done rigorously and really improve our capacity to have more impact on the ground. I also want to thank Mr. Achim Steiner, our administrator, for joining us today and for his great support in promoting the culture of evaluation throughout UNDP. Our heartfelt appreciation also goes to the colleagues around the world whose daily efforts contribute to the incremental improvement of the quality and utility of evaluations throughout our organization. That makes UNDP stronger, more credible organization, more transparent organization than one organization that partners want to work with. I would also like to express my thanks to the colleagues in the Independent Evaluation Office who have worked tirelessly behind the scenes throughout the selection process and to make this event happen. Thanks to Richard, to Jean, to Mikhail, to Anish, to Gonzalo, to Kate, and all the others, and to colleagues from award-winning offices and bureaus for their support to this event and to the evaluation teams in general. I look forward to seeing more high-quality evaluations in 2022. Let's continue our journey together to build a robust culture of evaluation within our organization and ultimately to improve development results for the people we serve. Thank you very much to all. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, Levan. Robert,
Bye.
Mohammed.
Thank you. Congratulations to the winners.
And thank you, Ramya and Osvaldo. Thank you so much.
Thank you.